good to see you again. I know you said last night that you would assess last night's game today. You'd speak with the players. Without going into too much detail, of course, what's been the general consensus as a group?
I've spoke to a couple of individuals rather than the whole group. It was a little bit separated today because the lads who played last night were doing a different session to the other guys. I don't want them hanging around all day. It was a long night, obviously travelling home. So we'll and I haven't had a real amount of time to assess the game, analyse it properly. So more today was just to speak to a couple of individuals about general feeling, about how they felt about the game, and then I'll analyse it myself today properly, feedback my thoughts on Friday minimally, because by the time we come in Friday we've got another game right in front of us to focus on. But if there's something we can improve on, which I'm sure there will be, then we'll try to make those improvements before Saturday.
You'll go into deeper analysis then between now and the next game, but on reflection, what are your thoughts about last night and the performance?
I thought we started okay, in control, in possession. They haven't been in our final third until the goal, but that's how quickly games can change. I thought we had a really good opportunity right before it to actually put them under pressure. We got into their final third, into the box, and but we didn't take anything from it. From the goal kick, they end up scoring, but a couple of turnovers. So there's parts of there defensively we could have done better, and actually in possession we could have done better. And then the lad scores, it gets deflected, goes over Sam, and I think from that point, or at that point, it changed the feel of the game. I think because I thought they were quite wary of us, to be honest, in that first 10-minute period. But that goal, sometimes you get an opportunity, you don't take it, and then it sort of balances out. But if it's taken, it suddenly has a swing. I thought their crowd supported every action, even if it was a throw-in or something. It got behind us, similar to what we get at Valley Parade. And I thought we lost a little bit of focus about how we play, what we do, and just played what that particular game was doing at that time without actually understanding what we do best. They got the second goal and it was difficult, but at half-time, we asked for a response, as in showing our characteristics as a team, that we don't ever give up. We always stay aggressive. We always commit players forward to score, and that's what the players did from that point. But we just didn't have. We had a couple of opportunities, didn't take. We obviously had the penalty which we didn't take, and the game finished as it finished. So I think we could have obviously avoided the first goal. And then reacted better after that as well, just to keep it at one, which we have done. I think it's only that and Notts County where we've lost by more than one in over 12 months. Yeah. So we've been really good at that response to negative events. But like I keep saying, we're not perfect and we're going to fall down every now and then. But if I know this group, they'll stand back up.
It was interesting speaking to Kieran not too long ago about last night's performance, and he said very honestly, he could feel it within himself on the field that it wasn't quite Bradford City at their best and what you've shown this season. And just interestingly, going into maybe the finer details, just about getting the ball over the top and turning their defence. And he said, as a centre half, that's not something that I like to do, running back towards my own goal, and that maybe could have been something that you could have done more as a team, and you have done more, particularly with the pace of Callum.
Yeah, I think, but it's got to be done with quality as well. I think, but I do think we had opportunities to do that, and I think we need to understand, and we have done that. I do feel we had a lot of time on the ball in the first 10 minutes, which gave us decisions to make, and that made us then look at one opportunity. Actually, is there another opportunity? Is there another option? And by then, it took too long. I think we're really good when we know what we're doing before we got the ball and we do it.
Clarity.
Yeah, clarity, assertiveness, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But we keep doing it again and again and again, and we stay consistent with that. And what you do is you build up pressure on the opponent, and you stretch them, and you put them on the back foot. And I don't think we did that. I thought they would. I definitely know they were wary of us at the start. They did allow us a bit of time at the back. I don't think we used the ball aggressively enough. I thought it suited them by us passing it slow, and in front of them. So I think and it was a contrast really from the Accrington game where we were just too much that way. So there's a balance in our game we have to find, but each opponent brings a different challenge, and sometimes you can see the team and their shape, but they might have a different tactic, sit off you, get right in your face. You don't know that until the game starts, and you have to get through those periods without conceding, and then you build into the game. But unfortunately, we conceded too early to keep that impact.
Yeah, obviously you've got two forwards in Michael and Callum, and different maybe subtle profile changes between the pair of them. When you've got Callum starting in the team and the ball's been sent up to him, maybe aerially, and he's trying to pin his defender, are you wanting that, or are you wanting him to turn the defence, the ball sent over the top and him running behind him? And can Michael be more of that outlet? How do you look at that discussion?
No, I think what we try to do is give the person in possession options. So Cav is never, or Michael, or whoever the 9 is never working independently of the other forwards. So we talk about counter movement, so the 2 10s either side. If they stretch, it can Callum come in short and vice versa. So we have the options of in front of their back line, behind their back line, and obviously on the other side of the pitch. So I think switching the play has been a big part of our game over the last 12 months as well. And I think we played too many straight balls last night. I don't think we, if we had time on the ball, we didn't change the picture by just switching the play through the back line or through the midfield to then see if the picture changes. We stood on the ball waiting for the picture to change without moving the ball, and it stays the same. So that's a little bit of progress that we need to make in those spells. But I believe Cav, me particularly, I thought Cav, and I said this to him at the end of the game, I thought that was his best all-round game for us without scoring. Yeah. I thought his work ethic was good. I thought he held the ball really well. His link play was good. He was he got his body in front of challenges from the centre halves. So for me, that was a massive improvement on his performance the week before. But I felt, I said to him after the game that's the bar that I'm going to hold you to from now on in your general play, because I thought he was really good. So, but I think he can give us both to feet and in behind, because he can be a pest, and he is mobile, and so is Michael. We need Michael to understand that it has to be constant. The intensity needed to play in any league team has to be, the game doesn't go slow and then find a pace. It's hectic straight away, and we play in a fast-paced way. So he needs to understand that sort of feel for a game. And I thought he's even though it's limited minutes, I thought he showed that intent when he's come on in both the last 2 games. Yeah.
Again, as I say, we spoke to Kieran. We've seen Kieran. We've seen the battle wounds that he's picked up. Just as a squad, how have you come through last night going into Saturday?
Yeah, it was a physical game. I thought there was a few challenges. I don't think that one was in the nature of football, to be honest. So I've asked the officials for their take on it. Obviously, I'd seen it on the laptop straight after the game. We can't take the laptop in to see the officials, unfortunately, so they have to go and assess it, which is fine. But I've asked for feedback because I don't know how it was missed. Yeah. The challenge happened in between 2 officials within a space of 20 yards. But look, that's what I'm not condoning that sort of action, but that's football, and it's competitive. We just need to crack on. But the other players, I think, generally come through a normal game of football with bumps and bruises, but nothing that's going to keep anybody out of Saturday's match.
And in terms of, again, I appreciate this is a repetitive question, but Anthony's situation, I think there's just a real desire to know how close he is amongst the fan base. I mean, are you any closer to knowing when he will be back?
He's going to see somebody today, so he's actually on his way now. Yeah, so he's got an appointment this afternoon, because it's all right us assessing what he's doing on the pitch, but we need the expertise of the medical consultant to look over what he's been doing in training with the medical team for the last month, and just then assess the state of his hamstring. So it'll all be dependent on that. But he's made steady progress, not blistering progress, but he's made steady, and today will give us a little bit more of a clear picture where he is.
Appreciate we've done quite a bit there about last night, and I know there'll be a bit of disappointment that it didn't go the way that you will have wanted, but to offer some perspective on the situation, second in the table, 6 games to go, and really in the thick of it. And I just wondered, the morning of MK away at the start of this season, if you'd been offered this situation now, where you are right in the thick of this hunt, would you have taken that?
I think you can answer that question. I think every Bradford City fan can answer that question. Every player, every staff member, all you guys, of course we would. This is what we, I had a good chat with Sam Walker there about it's amazing how your thoughts can fluctuate throughout the course of a season, and you can think about the bigger picture sometimes, or just think about what's in front of you. But the point you've just made there is absolutely spot on, because it's when we're working in pre-season, when we're working off-season with the players physically, we're saying think about this time next season, think about the end of the season, how strong we need to finish, where we'll be, where we want to be. It's right there in front of us. It's where we want it to be. So we've planned and prepared for this physically and mentally for a long time, and now it's about doing it. And but there's nothing to fear from my perspective. And I said to the players last night, we have control of how we act, how we behave, how we think. And that gives me confidence. That's where my confidence as a professional footballer or manager has always come from. It's come from, well, I know how hard I've worked, how hard I've trained. I know I've practiced this over and over and over and over again. I can do it. And that was it. So that's what the players have done. They've practiced and trained to win enough games to be at the top end of this table. So we don't have to look elsewhere for inspiration or for motivation. It's in what we've done over the last 12 months already. But we just have to continue it. Yeah. That's where it is. It's the challenge of continuing to win games. But it's a good place to be. I'd much take this position than you, apart from first, obviously. But you know what I mean. That's it. Yeah. So that's how I see it. So listen, disappointment of results is natural, and not being disappointed would be weird. You know what I mean? But letting it affect your future actions, I think is a negative. And I think, I think we've been really good at understanding disappointment, knockbacks, and then focus on the next challenge. I think that's been the core strength of what this group have done for a long time. And that's where we are right now. We are disappointed in what we've done over the last 3 or 4 games, barring the Colchester game. But that shouldn't impact on what we're doing forward. If we're going to look back, let's look back over 12 months rather than 3 weeks. Yeah. If we're going to look back. Yeah. But for me, I always want to look forward.
And you're just days away from what could be another record crowd at Valley Parade for League 2 level, and a tifo display expected. It's set to be quite the spectacle. That's what you want to be involved in, isn't it?
Without a doubt. And like I said to lads the previous week, it's because of what you've done. There wouldn't be 22,000 tifo, all that sort of thing if we're mid-table or stinking the place out or whatever. It's because of the excitement that this team has created over a long amount of time this season. And at the end of last season, I think the end of last season was a springboard to give us all confidence and optimism going into the summer and next season. And we've maintained that. We've had difficult spells, without a shadow of a doubt, which every team does have. But I believe the league table doesn't lie at this stage. We are where we deserve to be, but there's 6 more games at least for us to go and cement the position we're in if we can. So the crowd have been amazing with us, away as well as home. You saw it again last night. I didn't see any negative or feel or hear any negativity at the end of the game from the support, which is brilliant. They're patient with us. They're patient with the players. They know we're not perfect. I make mistakes. The players make mistakes. But the effort and the commitment is there. And the effort and commitment is there from the supporters. So that's the only way I believe. I think it's the best way, but I think it's the only way a club like this can achieve success, is by being together. And Saturday, I'm sure, will be another occasion of that.
And I know we've spoken about the home form and obviously how impressive that has been this season, but also embracing that atmosphere that comes with playing at Valley Parade. And it felt like that was in tandem in the Colchester game, and it does feel like this group embraces that big stage, that big game atmosphere.
I agree with that. I think it's look, there's big games home and away, but the atmosphere is quite unique, I think, at this level. So without a shadow of a doubt, the players have embraced it. We have thought about what an opportunity or how exciting and good it is to play in front of that. That's what we've turned it into. It's been a positive energy for us rather than a negative one. So that has to be a source of inspiration for us about any negative scenario, that we've always turned things into a positive. And certainly the environment we walk into at Valley Parade each week or each home game is a great example of that in full force. So we're looking forward to it, but we got to understand there's a good team coming here to challenge us and to try and win the points for themselves, but we know what we're capable of.
Thank you, Graham.
Okay, mate.
When you get to this stage of the season, 6 games to go, how do you keep that looking at the next game without the pressure growing of what the prize is at the end of it?
It's impossible to keep it all under a lid, you know what I mean, because players are human, everyone's human, people talk about it, people look at the league table, look at fixtures, this, that, the other, so it's a natural sort of event to happen. It's just about being able to box it off, cut it off, have the discipline to, I don't know, if you want to look at it and then just park it and then refocus your mind on what do I need to do to impact on a result in a positive way. That is it. That's the only thing. If each player, each staff member just thinks of that is their final thoughts, then that's enough for me. You can get distracted on a Thursday or a Monday, that's fine. But when it comes down to preparation for games and on match day, then you have to have a laser-like focus on what you do. You know what I mean? And you can reference your training, your analysis, all that sort of thing, and then go into the game and go, I'm just going to keep repeating all the positive stuff that we've worked on and seen over and over and over again. That's how it has to be. You have to control your mind in all scenarios. It's natural for it to drift off and look at the bigger picture, so to speak. But ultimately, when you come down to game time, it's got to be that game in its isolation, and it's a skill, and it's something you have to practice and prepare for. And we have talked about it many times with the players, and it's just reiterating those messages. But it's down to each individual to show that discipline. We don't have full control over all our players. They go home, some days off and stuff like that. So we don't overemphasise or overburden them with our control. We trust them and we treat them as people. But it's down to each individual to show the right focus and discipline. But like I say, I trust these players more than ever to show the right discipline needed.
And presumably, over your long playing career and your coaching career, that's something you've learned for yourself as well as on the touchline. Yeah.
More as a player. I think if the biggest example for me, if I go back to my biggest learning experiences were player finals, which I played right throughout my career. My first year in football, played in the old Wembley as a 19-20-year-old, and I played my last one as a 37-year-old. And the difference in my mental approach to those two games was quite vast, and I had games in between. And I remember referencing the first couple that I played in the Championship to get to the Premier League. I spent too much time thinking about what the Premier League would be like. I know I did, about what this game, what winning this could mean. The grounds I'd play at, the players I'd play against, this, that, the other. And I didn't focus enough on the game, what I had to do for the team. And then when I played the last one at 37 with Burnley, that's all I thought of. I didn't even think about the next step. All I thought of was how I was going to play that game, and enjoyed being with my teammates. Knowing that it might not work, might not go well, but all I'm going to do is focus on what I need to do and let everything else focus on itself. And I felt just better going into that game. It was no guarantee of the end result, but I know I was going to perform better than I had previously. So that's how I've learned, and it's through experience. I'm trying to pass that on experience to people who need it. It's my job as a coach, but I've got other staff members who've had similar experiences. I've got other players who've had similar experiences. So we need to lean upon all those things to help players who haven't been in it, or just to remind people that have been through it how to think again. It's we always need reminders about how to live our best lives and do our affect our careers in the best way. So that's what we're here to do, is support each other. And if anyone wants to help me and support me, I've got all ears all open. Okay.
You actually sort of preempted me a bit there. I think one of your predecessors used to sort of say who picks up the manager, or who motivates the manager. I mean, how do you sort of, who picks you up, or how do you keep going at times?
I do. I've got a grasp on reality of life, and I've got a family, and that's my first priority in real terms. You know what I mean? It's football is a great sport. It's a great. I've had a great life from it. It's the thing I've only ever wanted to do, and so I know how lucky I am each day. And I've had some bad days in football, as I've just talked about, playoff finals, when you're one game away from the Premier League, and a couple of times and stuff like that. But I was still breathing the next day, and my family was still there, and I still had the opportunity to play football again and win again. That's how I see it. So it's you have a lot of mental scars as well as physical scars, but I feel it's a great sign that you've competed and you've come for the next fight, and you've competed for the next fight, and you're still there. For me, that is success in itself, to be honest, before a result. And that's why I just asked the players at half-time last night to finish this game as a top team. That's it. It doesn't guarantee the result, but it would make you feel more positive going away from there. Well, at least that second half, that's more like us. That was us. I never dropped my shoulders. I never bickered at my teammate and didn't support him. There's success in that as well. And I think the more success you can have in that, it helps you get results. And so I've got a grasp on what this job is. It's so rewarding, demanding, challenging, but that's living it. And so I don't need any. Listen, I have support. Don't get me wrong. I have my wife and my children and Ryan and Chris and all that lot of people around me. But if everyone left me alone, I'll be okay as well.
And obviously, looking at being second, going into these 6 games, I mean, it's a good position to be in your own hands, isn't it? It's not like, I know last year it was always a little bit of a outside chase. You always needed to get the results and hope someone else did this or did that. You know, in a sense, as it stands at the moment, it's down to entirely what you do.
Yeah, and I said that to the players at the end of the game last night, that look, it's natural to feel all sorts of emotions and everything. But if you're looking for confidence, if you're looking for validity in what you do, we have control over our destinies. And I believe that from day one, that we have control over it, even before a ball's kicked. We have control over our decisions, over our work ethic, over our commitment. It is a decision you can make. It doesn't guarantee anything, but it sure takes you towards that end goal. And that's where we are right now. So it's we weren't looking to win promotion after 40 games. So why expect it? You know what I mean? We were looking to be successful over 46 games. So that's right in front of us. So it's going to be difficult. It's going to be hard. It's going to be tough. It's going to be ups and downs, even in this short period. But it's everything that we wanted to have the opportunity for all season long.
I was going to ask you one more about Anthony. Obviously, Jamie asked you the situation you see him, especially. I mean, in himself, do you sort of get the impression that he's still hopeful of playing his part this season? Is he still sort of in his body language? Yeah,
because he's a positive guy, and he's determined. He's devastated that he's injured, because he had that period at the start of the season. Started the season well, then got injured for a long time, or 3 months or so. Came back and made such a big impression on the team and results and so forth. Then to get this knockback, it's been difficult for him. So I understand that, but we brought Sars here for a reason, and bar his football abilities, his mentality, and his approach to things, and his determination, his will to win. He can be a right bugger on the training pitch and in games and that, You know, I had that 10 years ago when Fleetwood, when he was a young boy. He could be an issue sometimes or a problem, but a good problem, because his frustration or his anger or his, you know, I don't know, it all came from a will to win and be the best, and I like those types of characters and personalities. So him still being around and being around the group is good. Him being around the training pitch is good. On the periphery, him being in the team will be better. But I can't tell you whether that'll be this season or next.
Is he possibly channeling that frustration at not being playing in a positive way though around the place, as you say, by, you know, because some players would, you know, they think the world has ended. You know, it's all woe is me, isn't it?
No, yeah, he's definitely not that. That's not him. He wants to be successful with Bradford City, and he wants to help in any way he can do. Obviously, first priority is being on the pitch and helping his teammates. Second one is being a good teammate, being a leader, which he still is. Look, if anyone wants any tips on winning promotion, go and speak to Sars. That's it, honestly. He's a
bit of the Wikipedia of promotion.
Yeah, that's it. He's been through it loads of times. So, you know, if he says something, he's lived it, and I think that's a great person to have around the squad. But look, it's whether he can get back before the end of the season. I'm not the medical expert, but you know, we'll just see how that goes. But look, we've got Bobby back, Pato back, Kieran back. You know what I mean? So they've sort of got to speed now, which is good. So we're in pretty good strength, I would say, apart from obviously Sars and Cookie, you know, as players who have made big impacts this season.
You look at the results at the top, Graham, there's some funny results. Is it the teams that's going to have the strongest jaw? They're the ones who are going to ultimately finish in that three, probably, aren't they? I mean, you need your quality, but it's going to be that other side of it as well.
Yeah, well, that comes into it from the first day. That's why, you know, when we prepare the lads in pre-season, there's some mental challenges in there as well as physical. Yeah. You know, to see who's going to quit,
right? Who's
going to think it's not possible. Then when they do it, go, actually, I could do it. So that's a strength in their mind and their character, and it's all to draw strength from when the challenges come further in the season, which we've faced already. So the mindset and mentality of professional football and sport is always prevalent, always from day one. And I think over the course of the season you can build up a real good habit and a good behaviour of that's consistent, and then when it does get closer and closer to the vital games or the season-defining games, that you're in a good place mentally. And so I think all managers and coaches try to prepare their players for that. I think we've been pretty good at that over the course of our careers. But ultimately it's down to the players to go over that white line and take what's theirs. And, but they are a motivated group of players without a shadow of a doubt, and they're determined to make sure this is a positive season.
Can you sort of shed any light on what you've done? Is it like taking them out of the comfort zone and seeing how they...
Yeah, ran them to death.
Right, okay.
Seeing who quit first and stuff. No, I'm joking. Well, the players might not think I'm joking, but no. Look, it was that. You know, when we tell them about, look, there was the Austria one. Look, is a really important week for me as a manager, because and taking this new group, which it was a new group this season. But the players already knew what was coming, because Sars was joining the group and he'd been through it before. And listen, players know other players at other clubs, and they go, oh yeah, we went there with Graham, with this team or that team. And it gets about, and honestly, they're talking themselves out of it. There's no way I'll be able to complete that. There's no way I would be able to do that. You're exaggerating. They're not exaggerating. We do it. But they all came back in one shape, all walking, all breathing. None of them dropped out the whole week. That's how we say it. So, and we talked to them about it, lads. They're the challenges we're going to face, and you all thought, or some of you thought that weren't possible. Anything is possible if you're determined enough and you put the work in. It don't just happen by wishing for it. You have to put the work in. But the players have put the work in for that week in the off season, so they're prepared for it. Yeah. So it's all stuff like that. It's just like I don't think it's anything new. To be honest, it's something I went through as a player myself. But I think it's a real valuable exercise for players to go through.
Yeah, I remember ones with Tony Pulis and bikes going up hills and stuff like that, is it?
Yeah, we forget about the bikes. We score the hills. No, we did. But we did that.
Yeah.
We had the bikes as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we had the bikes as well. So there's a great big mountain right next to us, for all that sort of thing. So honestly, but I'm telling you,
Yeah.
talk to some of the players now. They thought it was a brilliant week. Once
Yeah.
it was behind them, because they knew they were in a better place after it. And I think it's something that you can draw upon from time to time to get you through tough periods.
Yeah, those big senior players you've got playing the game and not the occasion, you know. So it's all you're blessed with that, aren't you? You've got quite a few.
We have. But look, we all need that support at times, because we can all get distracted a little bit from that time to time. But that's why we don't just go for one captain and only talk to him and everyone else follows. We have a group of players that we touch base with and talk, because the captain needs that support as well. It needs to come from 5-6 players, and that's why we've tried to recruit that type of character. But they're players. What I really enjoy about this group of players is they take accountability. So when we watch some clips, they'll say, actually, I was out of position there. I made a mistake there. I should have done that. It's not deflection. It should have been him. And that's where I believe our real strength comes from, that there's no players pretending that we were either better than we were or worse than we were. We are what we are, and then we're trying to be better, and that's what they try to do. So we've got not just the senior players, I think we've got real good young players as well in that sort of category of character.
I was going to ask you finally, Crewe, I mean, they'll back themselves and they'll come to play, won't they, which is good for them, really.
I would expect so. I think any team at the top end of the table is going to back themselves just like we are. So I don't see any difference in the challenge to what we faced Tuesday, Saturday, previous week. It's difficult games week in, week out. But like you saw last night, if we don't get our game going, then we're weaker than we should be. So we have to make sure we focus on what we can do. But no doubt Crewe will have their aspirations to win the game as well. But they're going to come up against a good team.